the fuel of the future to get away from fossil fuels. It's envisioned to eventually replace coal, oil, and gas.
You've probably heard it a dozen times by now. Hydrogen is the future of energy. The clean fuel that will power our cars, our homes, even our airplanes, all without carbon emissions. But if hydrogen is so great, why hasn't it taken off yet? Why are we still driving petrol cars and charging batteries while hydrogen seems stuck in the pilot phase? In this video, we're going deep into the world of hydrogen. Not the hype, not the greenwashing, but the real facts, the science, the economics, the politics, and the future. Let's get into it. Hydrogen is the most abundant element in the universe. It powers the sun. But here on Earth, it doesn't exist freely. We have to extract it from water or fossil fuels before we can use it. When we do, it becomes a clean fuel that produces only water vapor when burned or run through a fuel cell. No CO2, no soot, no problem, right? Well, it depends. There are actually different colors of hydrogen, not based on the gas itself, but how it's made.
There are different ways to make hydrogen fuel, and all of them require some form of energy. That's because hydrogen in its natural form is usually bonded with another element. To use it, you first have to extract it from naturally occurring compounds like methane or water. And that process, splitting the hydrogen from the other atoms, takes a lot of energy. Say you used a fossil fuel like methane to make hydrogen, and you power that process with more fossil fuels like coal. That process creates greenhouse gases, not so clean. So the resulting product is called gray hydrogen. If some of those greenhouse gases are captured, then you get blue hydrogen. But you can also make hydrogen from water, and if you use renewable energy like solar or wind, you have no greenhouse gases, and the resulting product is called green hydrogen, the most eco-friendly way to produce hydrogen. But there are drawbacks. It might not be the environmental savior it's sometimes made out to be.
So, in theory, hydrogen sounds like a dream. But here's where it gets complicated. Governments and energy companies have been pouring billions into hydrogen. Why? Because it ticks a lot of boxes. It's clean, it's flexible, you can burn it, store it, or use it in fuel cells. And it can be used across sectors, from transport to industry to electricity. Countries like Germany, Japan, South Korea, and even Saudi Arabia have national hydrogen strategies. The EU and US are offering massive subsidies, and big names like Shell, BP, and Toyota are betting big. So, why hasn't hydrogen become a household energy source?
And why is green hydrogen also known as the champagne among energy sources? Green hydrogen right now is a lot more expensive than other fuels, which is why it is sometimes called the champagne of energy sources.
Here's the honest truth. Hydrogen still has a long way to go. 1. Infrastructure. Hydrogen stations are rare. Transporting and storing hydrogen is tricky. It's flammable and the smallest molecule in the universe, meaning it leaks. You can't just use your existing gas pipelines, it can corrode them. 2. Energy efficiency. Turning electricity into hydrogen, transporting it, storing it, and turning it back into energy. You lose around 60 to 70% of the original energy. By contrast, batteries are way more efficient for things like cars and homes. 3. Cost. Green hydrogen currently costs $4 to $6 per kilo and needs to hit $1 to compete. Electrolyzers, the machines that split water into hydrogen, are expensive and don't last forever. And finally, batteries are winning the race, especially for cars and short-distance transport. In 2023 alone, we saw over 14 million electric vehicles sold worldwide. Fuel cell vehicles, just around 20,000. Good question. Hydrogen may not be practical for cars or homes, but it could be essential elsewhere. Like what? Steel making. Hydrogen can replace coal to make low-carbon steel, shipping and aviation. Batteries are too heavy, but hydrogen, or hydrogen-based fuels like ammonia, might work. Heavy trucks and buses, long-range, quick refueling, seasonal energy storage. Hydrogen can store surplus wind or solar energy for weeks or even months. And for countries rich in renewables like Australia, Chile, or Saudi Arabia, Hydrogen is a new export opportunity. So yes, there's a lot of money flowing into hydrogen, but it's targeted, not for everything, but for the hardest problems in energy. Hydrogen has potential, but to realize it, a few big things need to happen.
To make enough green hydrogen, electrolyzers must be scaled up.
Lower costs, especially green hydrogen, better electrolyzers, cheaper, longer-lasting and scalable, policy support, clear regulations, tax incentives, and public infrastructure. Smart focus. Don't waste hydrogen where batteries or direct electrification work better.
For one, it takes a lot of energy to produce hydrogen, so why not just use that energy to power things directly? Rather than using wind to make hydrogen, we could just use the wind to generate electricity directly. But there is a big benefit to making green hydrogen. It lets you store renewable energy, capturing it for when the sun isn't shining or the wind isn't blowing. And even renewable energy projects have a footprint on habitat, wildlife, and people. Where are you going to put those turbines or solar panels? And if you put a bunch of wind turbines in the ocean, how is that going to affect marine life or fishing?
And in fact, I'm hopeful that my daughter, as she grows up, will be as familiar with hydrogen fueling as we are today with gasoline and diesel.
So, in order to be able to compete with fossil fuels, green hydrogen needs to become a lot cheaper. And that can only happen if it is produced on a mass scale, which means lots of solar panels, lots of wind farms, over vast areas of land.
The craziest economic bubble I've seen in the past years, the hydrogen economy, is about to burst. That's really good news. The hydrogen economy is the idea that we'll use hydrogen to store and transport energy from intermittent renewables. It's a good idea in principle, but in practice it makes no financial sense. Investors are now beginning to see this. Plans for green hydrogen production, that's hydrogen produced from renewable energy, have been cancelled all over the place, and pipelines as well.
Here's the balanced truth. Hydrogen is not the magic bullet some people claim. But it's not all hype either. We should stop thinking of hydrogen as the new oil. Instead, it's one piece of a much bigger energy puzzle. Solar and wind will generate clean electricity, batteries will power most vehicles and homes, and hydrogen will handle the toughest challenges: industrial heat, aviation, long-term storage. Is hydrogen the future? Only part of it. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. And let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Do you think hydrogen will play a major role in the energy future? Or will it fade into another overhyped tech story? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.